Welcome to Get Real, your go-to destination for all things real estate. I'm Gilbert Gonzalez, your host and the CEO of the San Antonio Board of Realtors. In this dynamic podcast series, we're dedicated to bridging the gap between you and the latest developments shaping the real estate landscape. From navigating emerging technologies to deciphering market trends, we're here to keep you informed and empowered. Join me as we delve deep into the heart of the industry, getting real insights from experts who understand what it takes to thrive in this ever-evolving field. It's time to connect. It's time to get real. In this episode, we're diving deep into the perks and advantages that come with being a member of the San Antonio Board of Realtors. And to help me as part of that conversation, we have Will Curtis. Will, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Will is our 2024 chairman of the board. And as our leader of the board, we thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about what are the benefits people get from joining our organization. So I'm going to turn it right over to you and say, what do you think some of the top benefits are for membership in our association?
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of stands out a lot is that we have a lot of benefits. And I think each time you go back, you look, there's more and more that come up. So even as, as the chair of the board, looking and kind of prepping for this, there was things that I didn't realize that were member benefits that, I'm going to go back and kind of take a look at. The ones that I know I use on a very regular basis, a lot of it's our government affairs. One of the things that I didn't realize prior to really getting involved in the board and being on the commercial side of the industry was how much work is actually going into behind the scenes. Where we've had some of our government affairs directors turn around and give me a call. Hey, we're talking about X, Y, and Z. I'm getting ready to meet with such and such council member. And then 2 hours later, I get a call and say, hey, we just defeated that. It's not even going to make it to city council. And there's those kind of things that we really can't celebrate, right? We can't go out and say, hey, we defeated so-and-so's, 15th measure, because that doesn't do well. But it also does protect the members quite a bit, where I don't think most members don't see that side of it.
And I think, when you talk about the organization, we always try and make sure that our members understand there's the advocacy side and then there's the business side. And the MLS is absolutely the business side, the technology, sure, everything to get the job done. But you're focusing more on the advocacy side, which is an absolute benefit to the things that we can accomplish at the state and the local level as far as getting things done. Right now, we're working on, making sure that any kind of changes to short-term rentals, that they're advantageous to homeowners. And I think you're absolutely right. Making sure that our members know we're constantly advocating for them is a good value.
And a lot of it's really behind the scenes. Again, members don't see, even us on the board, we don't see every one of these conversations that are happening that, the team behind the scenes are making things happen, really fighting for personal property rights without us really knowing. We're funding, we're helping, we're supporting those things. But again, we can't tout all those wins. They're there in the background.
Or we tout them and then we don't come back to them, such as upping the homestead exemption locally within the city of San Antonio and how that saved people money, and how we were able to help city council get that passed, which made a little bit more money in homeowners' pockets, which was a good thing.
Right. Well, I think it goes even into the project you guys were working on, where it's really more staff-driven and not necessarily members-driven as much, where you guys were doing a lot of title work. You're going back and cleaning up title, and the city of San Antonio took a lot of credit for that. But I know from conversations that was kind of a SABOR idea. It was staff's idea to put that together, to bring in all the parties to do that. And ultimately, we cleared up title issues. I can't remember how many families it was, but cleared up title issues to where they could now sell their home. They could now qualify for some of the other home improvement grants and those kind of things that the city are offering. That we're doing that work that I think most members or the public have no idea that we're behind the scenes making home ownership affordable or making improvements to a home affordable that nobody else is tackling.
And that came to us because the city was saying, we have all these grants and this funds available to homeowners to get a new roof, to get weatherization, to get other things done to their property. But there's always this hiccup with the deeds aren't correct or there's something wrong. So we found a problem and we jumped right in to try and find it. Now, I think aside from advocacy, we mentioned a little bit about the tools. Like, is there a favorite tool you can think of that that our members should take advantage of?
Certainly. So, I mean, I read Inman every day.
Which we get a subscription. Correct. Everybody gets a subscription.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, we get a subscription, and that's one of those member benefits that we get on a regular basis is just understanding what's going on in the news. And seeing kind of what's happening behind the scenes. And that's one of the things Inman does well, is kind of getting a little behind the scenes, kind of seeing what's going on, what's kind of happening. So that's a great one. RPR, which is offered to all of our members, that's an NAR benefit, but it's offered to all of our members as well. I'm getting on the commercial side, there's quite a bit of robustness on the commercial side that I don't think many commercial practitioners know. And I kind of laugh now that other organizations are now buying RPR white labeled on the commercial side, and they're touting, oh my gosh, look at this fantastic program we've got. It's doing all these things that we've been asking for years. And I'm thinking, the realtors have been doing this for years. We've had access to this tool for years, and yet these non-realtor members are now getting it through a white labeled product that gives, at least on the commercial side, gives access to demographics, gives access to tapestry segments, gives access to, all sorts of things that are just an amazing benefit. And on the residential side, I know a lot of my colleagues will use it for things like putting CMAs together and doing property research and looking at kind of trends a little bit more localized. It's a great benefit.
I agree, and I want to interrupt you to say I think you're highlighting something, and I want to kind of just put a different angle on it. Is that I had a conversation with a member, and the conversation was, what do I get out of my memberships at NAR and TAR? And you're talking about RPR, which is a NAR benefit, and I'm going to highlight forms from TR. I think the way the member explained it best, and I thought it was fantastic, is would I pay those dues once a year in order to have access to all those legal forms available to me so I can do my job? Would I pay that NAR due once a year in order to have access to RPR? And I think that's a very good way of kind of communicating the value you do get from joining the organizations.
Right. Well, and I think most members and non-members alike don't realize the difference between TREC and Texas Realtors.
Okay.
For that matter.
Yeah.
That there's oftentimes it's confused, and even on the commercial side, as I'm teaching classes, we hear a lot of times where, there's a TREC form for the commercial purchase agreement. Well, no, that's actually a member benefit from Texas Realtors. Texas Realtors is putting that together. TREC doesn't do any commercial forms, not because they can't, it's just very specialized. And the trade association, Texas Realtors, has jumped in and said, our members need these things. And you could spend $2,000-$3,000 for every contract that's coming up, or a few $100, a year, and have this to come to your clients, which non-members can absolutely pay to have access to it, and many do, to have access to our forms, and maybe not through membership, because they're good, solid forms for generalized use.
I'm sure the cost of getting forms privately from a lawyer to update them regularly to make sure that they're in compliance would be a lot more than our dues that we pay at the TR level.
We're having clients right now go through that process where they're drafting an initial lease. They're going to negotiate that lease. We're estimating $3,000 to $5,000 just for a relatively simple lease agreement. There's a little bit of hair here and there on there, but for an overall simple lease agreement, $3,000 to $5,000. Where again, we've got a form that covers probably 80 to 90% of what we need. Like I said, that deal's got a little hair on it, but at that point now we can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Attorney, can you draft something in special provisions for us that covers this one little thing here? And now it's
only attorneys are drafting in special provisions. Right. Let's just make sure that's clear. Like no one else is going to be. It is special provisions, but you shouldn't be using it. Let's just be honest.
Right. But the attorney's drafting that one little bit that we need. It's a $500 or $600 charge versus $3,000, $5,000 to draft this whole thing, which is a huge benefit to members.
Absolutely. So we've focused on TR and NAR, and I want to bring us back to SABOR. And the other membership benefit I'd like for you to talk about is one of our newer ones, is Forewarn.
Yeah, that's by far one of my favorites. We were joking kind of before this got started. I'm a busy guy, obviously, running around between running a business. I've got small kids, just life is busy. And I got a text probably about 2 weeks ago or so, and it's like, hey, we still on for dinner tonight? And I didn't recognize the number, and I'm thinking, great, I totally missed something. I've already got something with the kids. So the first thing I did was like, well, who is this? And instead of actually texting them back, took the number, went to Forewarn, looked at it, realized that it came back with nothing, and it was a scam likely type situation. So very quickly, I didn't miss something. The scammers are just getting smarter and realized that who wouldn't respond to, hey, are we still good for dinner tonight? Who is this? And then next thing you know, they know it's a live number, and you start getting blown up even further. Where Forewarn, just something simple like that, was able to save me from getting blown up for even more and more spam text message and calls.
And I think we don't know exact. No, let me rephrase that. There is good information when you run somebody's phone number. You can get potential criminal history. You can get prior addresses. You can get alias names. You can get just some information where if you're trying to validate them as a potential buyer, if you're concerned about your own safety and somebody has asked you to go to a piece of property and you don't know who they are, run them through the thing. If you're trying to wonder if this person is validating all the things that they've said or if they've had bankruptcy, great information to provide you with. So it's a great tool that I don't know if all of our members know how to utilize it, but I hope they will, because I think on the market it's like $30 a month to pay for that service independent, and here it is included as part of your membership. So great value.
No, we had a situation right around the time that Forewarn had got released to us, where I had an agent who's off showing a property, and the guy's like, "I love it. I'm going to take it. It's a commercial deal. We love it. We're going to take it." And he goes out to his car. He comes back in with a duffel bag full of cash. And a lot of cash. And of course, my agent's like, "Hey, what do I do?" I was like, "Don't touch the cash." Very quickly, like, he can take the cash to the title company once you do the contract, right? But the very next thing we did was like, well, let's try out this new Forewarn thing. Pick up the phone, start looking in, find out the guy had just recently got out of jail, had criminal ties to all sorts of things, and like this could have legitimately gone very, very bad for our agent with the ties that these individuals had. And I mean, granted, there was already some red flags right away when somebody walks into a deal's like, "I'm first showing and I've got a duffel bag full of cash." Obviously, red flags right there. But had we known and thought about Forewarn prior to that, we could have jumped in, done the research beforehand. And I mean, that showing could have gone very, very differently. We're lucky it didn't, but it could have gone very, very differently. And, we could have been, without an agent.
I think if this is our new platform, we're trying something different as far as how we're communicating with our members, and we're doing some video and a little bit of podcast. And I would love to make it interactive in a way where I think the folks who have had great experiences with Forewarns are huge advocates and huge cheerleaders for it. If you're able to post something on our social, how it has helped you or saved you in a situation, please post that for us out there so that more people can see the value that it gets, because y'all telling each other about our benefits is far more helpful. Right? So please do that if you can on this communications tool. Any other last minute or other tools you can think of that we should let our members know about?
No, I think the only other thing I would really, really want to highlight is just the education we get from the Realtor Academy. It's definitely a resource, and we've had some change in leadership there as well that I think is focused a lot more on the members and what the members need, what the members need to be successful. And I think, maybe I'm biased. I'm an instructor. I spend a lot of my time, and education is extremely, extremely important to me. So maybe there's some bias in there, kind of looking at it from the education side. But I think the smarter our members are, the better they can serve their clients. The better they're going to keep themselves out of trouble, the better that their brokers are going to feel knowing they've got agents out there doing the work they need to do. The Realtor Academy is offering those classes where they're rolling out new classes. I've talked to Karen and talk about the things that she's looking at building, looking at rolling out additional classes, additional training. So I mean, if we're not looking at that on a regular basis, by all means, even the board of directors, we've got a little bit of a competition to see who can actually sign up and get the most people to click. So if you hashtag Will-10, you can use mine and I can get credit for it, right? So
nice try.
We might be a little.
This is just because you were third.
I was third this month, and I had 4 clicks, and 3 of them were mine. So absolutely. But even with that, there's we're working some discounts, we're working some new education, we're working some of those things there to make sure that our members are the smartest and can serve their clients the absolute best. And that's for all types of things where, I know I'm working with Karen a lot on the commercial side, making sure we're developing commercial classes, but I know they're working on things for property management, they're working on things for farm and ranch, they're working on better tools and additional classes above and beyond what we've done for the residential side of things, which it's not out there. Nobody else is doing these kind of things, and it's certainly something we should be touting and looking to grow.
I don't think it's at all a coming in from a lens as much as it's coming in from your responsibility as chair and coming in from the responsibility of our board of directors, which is the industry is constantly changing with AI, which everyone's talked about, and with all the other tools and with everything else happening. Educating yourself and being that resource to our consumers is the best thing that our industry can do, is to make sure that they are providing the that source of information to consumers, which, as they take on this most important transaction in usually for their lifetime, this house, which will turn into a equity, which can be used for education and other things. I mean, our members being educated is pivotal to our future, and without it, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, then we're not doing what we can. So we have to absolutely, I think, commit to that.
Well, and just the knowledge that they bring in. I mean, even another benefit we have there, I'm just going to go down the list of all of them, right?
No, please do. Yeah.
Is a down payment resource assistant. I know that's one of those things that, on my side of the business, we don't see often. But kind of digging through and looking at it, that's really a ways that our members can truly help people get into a home for the very first time. And, there's a lot of discussions around affordability, and I'm never going to be able to buy a house, and I can't do it because X, Y, and Z. But, our members have got more and more and more tools to bring that in so that we can make sure we can help. Certain areas have certain grants or certain credits that are available. Certain properties have different ones here or there. And we have all those resources available to our members that if you're not working with one of our members, you may not have access to it. And not just here in San Antonio's jurisdiction, but on the 10 counties that we cover, we have this information there where you may not even get it from a member from another association, may not have access to these same tools as well.
And yesterday I was at a presentation, and a lady came up to me and said, Gilbert, here's the thing that I have that's a pressure point is I have and this wasn't an agent, this was just someone out there who works in the community. She's like, I have a buyer who is qualified for $165,000 or $180,000 mortgage. Where are they going to go? And I was like, I don't know, but I know my members will help you, and I know that they have the resources available to them to help that person to find them if they're ready, willing, and able to find something that they want to call their own. Maybe it's not going to look exactly like what they want, but our members, like you said, have down payment resource assistance, which provides you all kinds of options on that's what they have now, but maybe with a little bit of down payment, we can get them something better, something different.
Well, and ultimately it creates wealth, right? I mean, I can tell you personally from our home, we bought it sub 200, and now, if we're to put it on market today, we're looking closer to 400. That's been 5 or 6 years. We've doubled our equity in our home purchase, and for us, it's given us some lens. As we've got kids that are in college, we've got kids that are a few years away from college. My wife is doing school that gives us some ability that if we needed to tap into some of that equity, we absolutely could, and it just gives us that much more of an option. We know real estate's cyclical, so in the commercial market's been a little fun for us, and knowing that we've got that nest egg of equity built in absolutely changes it, our trajectory for our family, and there's so many other things that go along with homeownership, like your civic involvement and your care for community and all those other kind of intangible that kind of goes on to make the community better. Just the financial aspect, it's a huge chunk of our.
So there's probably some members who are going to say, I wonder if he just set everyone else up to think that in 4 years that their equity is going to double.
Fair enough.
So what I will say is one of the other value benefits that we have, though, is to be able to answer that question and to use our market stats that we put out to our members and that are available to answer that question. But like, hey, look, that was the years 2021 to 2023. Now it's going to look a little bit more like this. And by attending our housing forecast, by getting our market stats and becoming that resource. So when they ask you, hey, is my house going to appreciate in value that much? You can answer that question and be knowledgeable of it through what we're able to kind of produce. I feel like we think of some of our member benefits are the ones you can log into, but there's a lot of information that you get to leverage, which I hope our members take advantage of. To become that resource in the community.
Yeah, I can say, as being in chair for the last couple of months now, just the amount of resource that we have and the questions that media asks us and things they want to dive into, we've got maybe not right at our fingertips right away, but we've got a lot of those answers as well. So yeah, you're right. Probably not going to double your net worth or your home value in a couple of years. We bought at the right time. And absolutely that's true. But you're right. We do have them. Normally, I start off with my crystal ball's a little dirty, but here's kind of where we can see the market trends start to go, and we've got that data to sit down and start pointing. Hey, we're seeing 3%, 8%, whatever the case, increase in home values year over year, and here's what. Based on the data we can look at.
So we've talked about a few things. If you go to our website and you go to About, and then you click on membership, you'll find a tab that says member benefits, and it lists everything that's available to our members as part of their membership, whether it's their association membership or whether it's a part of their subscription to the MLS. Like, there is a lot of stuff there that I hope all of our members are taking advantage of and utilizing. As we wrap up, Will, is there anything else you want to add about future member benefits, how we come about it, or anything else that you want to tell our members about?
Yeah, I think this is a discussion you and I, I've kind of moved through leadership. It's something you and I talk about, and as well with staff, is what else do our members want? What else can our members, what can they use? What would make their life better? Is there something that, we find out that 80% of our members are using X? Is there something we could turn around and buy at an economies of scale and reduce those costs? For those, I don't think we know we have those answers, and honestly, that's where I think feedback from our members and hearing what tools they would like. That's actually how Forewarn came about, was when we did the merger with Uvalde. They love Forewarn, and it wasn't something that was even on our radar of something to really look for until they said, "Hey, we love this program." We looked at it and we're like, "We understand why you love it." So I think hearing that feedback from our members absolutely is where we sit down and look, and we're always looking for ways to set our members apart, bring in more tools, more resources. How do we make our members more successful, easier by bringing those tools in? So we'd love to hear back, and like you mentioned before, if there's comments and wherever social media this is placed at, staff and members or member leaders are going to absolutely look and read those, and we're gonna look at those and figure it out. And if not, you can easily email communications@sabor.com or chairman@sabor.com, and by all means, we're going to get that information to the right people to start looking at it.
Yeah, please do. I appreciate that you plugged in those 2 emails. There's surveys that go out. Please help us by filling those out. We love the feedback.
We read every single one of those lines.
Yes, we do.
It's a lot. Some are great feedback. Some are a little funny.
Yeah.
Some maybe could be a little more constructive, but they're absolutely read. Every single one of them are absolutely read and taken to heart. And even right now, we're doing our MLS strat plan right now, and we're reading every single one of those to understand, what do our members want? Where does it need to go? What can we actually do for them? So by all means, those surveys do get read. They don't go to somebody's inbox and we go, we're going to go this way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that you are stressing the fact that we are a member-focused organization that is constantly looking for feedback from our members, so we know where to go and our board of directors knows in what direction to head. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to visit with me about our benefits, and I think we'll have future conversations about other things.
Yeah, certainly.
So with that, thank you everyone for watching Get Real. We appreciate you taking the time to hear us out, and if you can think of any topics, please send them to communications@sabor.com.